This Halloween I've built something spooky, spectral and just a little bit nerdy, using a tiny AMOLED screen, some clever optics and a 3D printed Nazgul. Let me show you how it works and indeed how you can remix it for your own projects. Hi, I'm John, your spectral concierge to the world of the Raspberry Pi Pico, Pico 2, robotics, IoT and other fun tech from beyond the veil. If that sounds like your kind of adventure, then please subscribe and join the community. So, what is this wonderful little illusion going to look like? Well, I'm going to reuse the Waveshare 1.64-inch AMOLED display that I've recently reviewed on the channel. The brightness and true black blacks are going to really help me pull off this illusion. Plus some WS2812B LEDs on a string. Everything else is just going to be 3D printed magic. If this video conjures up some inspiration or helps your projects, consider dropping me a tip using that super thanks button below the video, or there's a payment link in the description. It helps me keep this channel on the air and keep these ideas and videos coming to you. So let's get spooky. So the concept of Pepper's Ghost originates from a guy called John Henry Pepper, who did this for the theatre. Imagine this is Hamlet and we've got, our actor on the stage. We want a ghost to appear next to him. Well, how do we do that? Well, because we're in a theatre, we're in a controlled environment. We've got a controlled frame through which all of the audience is looking. So we can actually have this ghost not really be on the stage at all. In fact, they're actually in the wings. And what's on the stage is a piece of glass, which is at a 45 degree angle between the person standing off stage, so that what we actually see as the audience is a reflection of them. And then using the lighting and relative brightness of lighting, we can actually control how much they see. So looking at this from the top, if we've got our real person there as our pink blob, we've got a sheet of glass there at 45 degrees angle to our second actor out there outside of the stage that is viewable, and they are being reflected in that glass, which we then perceive as this ghostly image standing next to our actor. So what components do we need to bring this to life at Raspberry Pi Pico scale? Well, I'm going to use a RP2350 screen, and I'm going to use the AMOLED 1.64-inch screen that I used previously. So this gives me a nice number of pixels and a screen that's quite small, but it's enough to cover the head space. And then I'm going to use some WS2812B LEDs from a strip. I'm actually using 8 LEDs, but I'm cutting them down into 3 strips, 2 of 2 and 1 of 4, because I'm going to use them as different positions for the lighting. And then I'm going to use a Nazgul model as well from a guy called 3 Design Art, who's done an amazing job of this Nazgul design that I downloaded off of Cults 3D. And then finally, we're going to need some plastic. Some Perspex 100 by 150 millimeters that I'm going to use as my beam splitter. So that's what it's going to do the reflection. And then the rest of it is going to just be 3D printed box to house everything in. So of course I've shared everything online. So over on GitHub, you can find all of my code to make this come to life, but also all of the 3D models. So all of my modeling for this I've done in Blender. So we've got our Nazgul that I've imported in here. And then we're going to have, of course, a piece of Perspex. So let's just model that so that we know where that's going to be and that we've got a 45 degree angle. Now, when I showed you the concept of this, the Perspex or glass was going to be at 45 degrees to the Z, or the vertical axis. Now you'll notice it isn't. I'm actually doing this at 45 degrees to the horizontal. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm not going to have our screen sitting next to our Nazgul. I'm actually going to have the screen sitting on the top there. So it's nice and out of the way, really. And also quite see when you're only looking down at it. So that's what I want to build. To do that, I'm going to need to build a box, and here is my box or my case design. And it's basically going to surround. Let's turn off a few things, the perspex. That would take the Nazgul. You could actually put anything in this, you know, not just the Nazgul. It's basically just a little stage for a 10 centimeter figure. And I've got the little channels there to put the screen in. The back is actually also another channel, so you can actually put a black piece of card in there. I've actually printed some plastic to put in there, but you could do that. And then there are 3 light boxes that I'm using to illuminate our figure. There's 2 vertical ones here. They can't be very high because they have to stay below the glass. And there's one across the bottom here. And they've got wiring holes that come out the bottom so that I can do all the wiring outside. And yeah, so that's what the box looks like. And then of course we're going to need some sort of lid to go on top, like that. And on top of that we're also going to need some sort of screen mount to just hold our screen safely in place, suspended above our glass so that it can all nicely reflect. And that's all there is to the 3D printed parts for this. Now the code for this project, I guess, is a combination of 2 things really, which you can guess as soon as you look at the libraries that I've included. That's firstly, it's all of the stuff for that RP2350 AMOLED 164 library, and you saw me do a review of that, and you saw me create an LVGL example. Well, this is an LVGL example of that too. That's exactly what I'm going to use. And the other library here really is Pico LED, and that's because we're going to drive WS2812B LEDs, and that's the library I'm using to do that. So those are the libraries we've got. If we actually have a look at the code, there's not a great deal in here. We've got our main program, which is going to basically kick off LVGL. It's also going to create a LED strip using that Pico LED library, which is going to hand over for everything else to be controlled and managed through my widgets class. The only other thing in here is King 1 and King 2, and those are the images. There's the images created via the LVGL image conversion tool. So I uploaded a PNG file and it gave me a .c file that I can then just reference from my code. So what we've got in our widget is basically the ability to hand over our Pico LED controller so that we can control those LEDs, to run up, initialize it and set up all of the widget components, of which there's not much. And then there's a few little bits in here. We've basically got the ability to display the first king, the second king, or no kings at all. So in terms of images on the screen, and there's a bit of a timer callback so that we can go through a sequence. That's largely it here. So really what I'm doing in the code, if we go over here, is as we initialize it, we're going to set up a scrollable a tile view. And on that tile, I'm basically going to, first of all, change the tile background so it's black. Because black's quite important. If it was a white tile, you'd see it all the time on top, reflecting in the screen. So we want it black so it doesn't get reflected. Then we create our 2 images, King 1 and King 2. And I'm going to hide them both by adding a flag. I'm going to add the flag hidden so they disappear. And then I'm going to trigger off this timer. And when that timer callback comes back, and it's coming through here, this process, I'm basically just going to keep a sequence counter every time it gets called and do something slightly different each time. So if we're in sequence 0, we're resetting it. So we're going to basically set our RGB color to be 150. So we're going to be white and I'm going to set an adjustment to that we'll go through as we tick through and for all of the adjustments on red, green and blue channel all to be -1. So it slowly will get darker. That's what we want. Okay. Now you probably noticed that I'm actually showing the LED as the first thing, not the last thing in this loop, because somewhere later I'm going to actually set these colors. The reason I'm doing that is the screen takes a little while to update, and I want the screen and LEDs to appear to update at about the same time. So actually doing the show LED first actually fixes that problem. Anyway, let's get back to the sequence. So once we get to sequence 100, then we'll do a slight change to the lighting, and we'll put the second king on the screen, which is those two red eyes. Once we get to sequence 200, then I'm going to change the colors down a bit and have a slightly more bluey green hue, as well as doing a slightly more ambitious fade and change of LEDs as we tick through, and we put the ghostly head up. And that's it. When we're over 300, we'll reset ourselves back to the beginning. And then, we're just basically filling all 8 LEDs with the same color. I was originally thinking I would actually be doing something clever and having different colors on different banks of LEDs. I kind of ran out of time, didn't bother with that. So what do we need to do to hide our two kings? Well, we've already seen that, because I've already shown you it's about adding this flag hidden, which means that if we want to show a king, and if I want to show king 1, well, what I want to do is want to clear off the hidden flag from king 1, but make sure that I have got the hidden flag on king 2. And for king 2, do it the other way around. And that's all there is to it. This is a relatively simple little bit of animation, but it creates a nice effect. And so the real unit is this piece of 3D printed plastic that I can then insert my Perspex screen into. Of course, I've got to peel off the protected screen at some point there. Now, if we then push in the black piece of plastic, that actually just cuts out the light, which is really important because we mustn't be able to see the screen. Those LEDs, which are going to carefully illuminate on model, you can see them nicely here. Now those LEDs will also not be able to be seen from the other side because they're all nicely hidden behind those boxes. Now here we've got the back view with the LEDs illuminated. You can see the real experience of what the Nazgul sees with all of the lights pointing towards them. And then I haven't even stuck the Nazgul in yet, but he's going to sit in there basically. There we go, we have a completed model. So here's the model with the lid on, and let me just take the lid off so that you can see that everything really is as I've said. So there we've got a Nazgul in there, you can see him being illuminated, and if I just bring the lid around, you can actually see the images being displayed on that screen, and it's that's then reflecting down in our beam splitter. So let's just show this as a full demo, and this is with my camera really right close in, so we can see the red glowing eyes on our Nazgul appear. The background colors changing from those LEDs, and then the reflection of this ghostly face. It's slightly vibrating on the camera, I noticed, which is kind of interesting, but it actually adds to the effect. So there we go. We have Halloween 2025. Pepper's ghost is a simple but effective illusion. At this small scale, it's a little fiddly to get everything perfectly aligned. Small movements have quite significant effects on the display, but I'm quite pleased with the outcome. If this video helps you out or sparks some ideas for your own projects, then please do consider sponsoring me or giving me a tip using that super thanks button below the video, or there's a payment link in the description. I'm saving these up to get myself over to the open source conference in San Francisco in 2026, and every contribution brings me one step closer to that journey, and I'd love to meet some of you there too. If you're in the mood for some more spooky builds, and I'm sure you are, check out my Halloween skull build from last year. Catch you soon.